Nikola Tesla, as many of you know, is one of my favorite people of history. And it was said that he could tap into the universal consciousness or the universal mind, which is basically a concept that says we're all tied into the universe and we can pull information from this. The Akashic Records, much like the universal consciousness, is a library of information that contains the details of your soul, its journey through past lives, present incarnations, and future possibilities. That was the Theosophical with Madame Helena Blavatsky. That was that school of thought. But if you want to say, hey, there's no science here, then you have what's known as genomic imprinting, which is defined as a developmental process that sometimes leads to the exclusive expression of specific genes from only one parent. That being said, we all have our ancestors' DNA inside of us in percentages. You know, obviously, your mother and father are 50-50. Sometimes it's not, though, really. It's you get one strong trait from your mother, you get one strong trait from your father. You don't necessarily always get 50-50. You know, it's like people say, you know, you look like so-and-so on your mother's side. You look like my great aunt so-and-so. And you're like, where did that come from? Because I don't. You know, I don't look like that person, like my mother, my father, but yet I look like a relative that died 50 years ago. So it's like, what genetic traits are getting passed down and what genetic traits are being essentially blocked, but might be passed down in a weaker variant to the next child or offspring. You know, that's the kind of things I have to wonder. What about us and our bodies block certain genetic traits but let others through? You know, another prime example is the bald gene. A lot of times it was said that if it came from the mother side, so if your grandfather was bald, you were bald. But studies have shown that if the father's bald, usually you're bald, that it doesn't skip a generation, as they like to say. Because my grandfather was bald. He went bald relatively early. My uncle was bald. He went relatively early. But I'm not. But the people on my father's side, we all have hair. My grandfather's in his 90s and he still has hair. So it's like, that's where the genetic traits come from. But I share a lot of I share the genetic traits from my hair from both my mother and my father. My father has curly hair. My mother has straight hair. So I am like 50% both. I have both. So it's just little things like that fascinates me. Or, you know, people say, your grandfather liked black licorice, because only people that didn't know what sweets were like black licorice. Because I don't know anybody that likes black licorice. Nobody. But then you like it. So is that a genetic trait passed down from your grandfather to you that skipped your mother or your father? Or is it because you actually like that taste? I think personally, I lean towards the first one. I think that it's a passed down trait. Like what you heard? Well, head on over to www.spreaker.com/user/ThisUncannyEarth to hear more from this episode, 186, Genetics, and to hear more episodes of This Uncanny Earth. As always, I'll be boring when you can be uncanny.